This has to be one of my favorite TVs this year. Hey guys, how's it going? Justin here from Waltz, and today we're taking a look at the Q80B, which is an awesome middle-of-the-line QLED TV by Samsung, one of my personal favorites, and there's a lot to unpack here, so we're going to break it up into 4 parts. We'll go from picture quality to the features and design, and then to audio, and then my final thoughts. And hopefully by the end of the video, you'll know if this TV is right for you. So with that being said, let's start with picture quality. Q80B is going to be a 4K television, which means there's going to be about 8.3 million pixels, but what's more impressive is the fact that this is a full array, fully backlit QLED panel. It's actually the first QLED in the QLED line that does have the full array panel. The Q70 and the Q60 do not, and let me tell you, it makes a huge difference. Now, the Q80B is going to come with Samsung's Quantum 12X HDR, which is just a fancy term for great color. I mean, if you don't know what HDR is, it's high dynamic range, and if your TV is a fairly cheap TV, it probably doesn't have good high dynamic range. So, as you step up the QLED lineup and other brands as well, you're going to notice that the HDR content is a lot better. And going back to the panel, the reason that this is important, the fact that there's a full array backlit panel, is because most cheap TVs are going to come with edge lighting. And essentially you're losing out on a lot of color, saturation, brightness, contrast, all that fun stuff. You're going to be losing out on that when you have that edge lighting because there's nothing in the center to help distribute that light evenly. So, I mean, I guess the easiest way to think about this would be like, hey, the more lights you have, the better it's going to be. And that's kind of how it goes as far as stepping up in the technology. And QLED does a great job of having a lot of options. So great stuff from Samsung. Now, we should really talk about processing power. It's important for a lot of things, but we'll start off with the 4K upscaling. This TV does have 4K upscaling, and essentially what that's doing is it's predicting pixels that would be there from a smaller image. So let's say you take a 1080p image and you throw it on your 4K TV, it's going to scale it up to a higher resolution, if that makes sense, just by faking the pixels that are missed. And this is something that most TVs are going to start to do nowadays, but you can find enhanced versions on higher models, and that's just kind of like one of those features that you miss out on. But I will say, with the processing power and the upscaling, it looks way better on a Q80 than a Q60 or even less than that. So processing power, very important for that picture quality. Also going to be important for some other things, which will lead us into our next part. Features and design, and there's a ton to unpack here, but we'll start off back with where we left off on the processing. Processing power is not only important for the screen quality, but also for how you operate the TV. Justin, what do you mean operate the TV? I mean, you just turn it on and you watch what you want to watch, right? It's as simple as that. This might sound silly, but that couldn't be more far from the truth. I mean, your TV is an all-in-one experience. Everything from the time that you pick up your remote to the second that your show is watching. And the issue is that this is often one of the overlooked functions of a TV, even to people who are more experienced in the TV world. I mean, processing power is very, very important because you don't want to be sitting there scrolling through your apps and you have to go back a couple times because you pressed the button too many times and it lagged, or you're trying to type in passwords and you have an even harder time doing that kind of thing. These are all things that are unfortunately pretty common in your lower end TVs, and something that the Q80 does a great job at. Very similar to the way that computers work and how you can get 2 different processors that have different speeds, and although they produce the same outcome, the time to get there and the frustration can often be a big difference. So don't let that be an oversight in your TV journey. We talk so much about smart apps and everything that's going on there. So the operating system is Samsung's Tizen operating system. They've had this for quite a while, and I'm a pretty big fan of it just because of how smooth it is. I think that there's some other operating systems out there that have a cooler design, but I mean, functionality is very important here. So Samsung's operating system's pretty much always been a top contender for me. And obviously, to run all these, you're going to have to control it some way. So the Samsung Q80 does come with a solar QLED remote. This is not new, but it is new in the last couple years, and I'm always going to rant about it. This thing's awesome. It can charge off the light just in your room, but in case for some reason that wasn't enough, you can plug it in USB Type-C at the bottom. It's also going to come with some really helpful hot buttons like Netflix and Prime Video, which I use a lot in my personal systems, so I'm sure you will too, unless you don't watch any TV, which is kind of weird because that's the reason you're buying a TV. But yeah, super easy to use and operate. So bonus points for the QLED solar remote. No more batteries. It's awesome. Now, maybe you don't really plan on watching a whole lot of TV on this specific TV, and maybe this is going to be more of a movie TV where you have a Blu-ray player hooked in, or even, if you're a big-time gamer and you have that new PS5 or Xbox X, you're going to want the best possible gaming experience. And if you remember what I said earlier, it does have that 120 hertz refresh rate. Well, something specifically about the Q80 and what you'll start to notice with some of the higher-end TVs is that you get upper end features like this. 4 2.1 HDMI ports, which is insane. That's 4 of them that can do 120 hertz, and one of those is going to be an ARC, so you can plug in your soundbar, which, by the way, you could also use optical, but HDMI ARC is becoming pretty popular, so whatever you want to do there. If you guys haven't already, you should check out our video on AudioQuest HDMI cables. They're awesome cables that make a huge difference in connecting your TV to your soundbar or your TV to other devices, so make sure you guys go watch that. But as far as options go, you have the optical and the HDMI ARC. You also have 2 USB connections for maybe you want to throw some pictures on the TV or load some music. Whatever you really want to do with this TV, it's got everything you need, and it's quite a huge step from the Q60, which Q60 is a good TV, but the Q80, man, this thing gets me excited. Oh, and if you guys are enjoying the video, make sure to leave a like and subscribe. It really does help me out. Now, would you believe me if I told you we've only covered half of what we need to cover in this TV? I know, it's crazy, but that's just how awesome this TV is. So let's talk about the design. Once you get into the Q80, I've noticed is this kind of where they break away from your standard QLED TV to your premium TV, as far as things like the awesome thin bezel that you don't get with a Q60. This is something that, you're really only going to get with premium TVs because they're fully backlit and they don't have all those edge panel lighting. So you can pretty much expect this from any full array type of TV. But I just find that Samsung's bezels, they do a great job hiding those bezels and giving you as much screen as you can get for the size. And with the design, something that also sticks out to me is the fact that there's no more feet. With this model, you get a base, and the base is raised just enough so you can fit pretty much any soundbar, and I think that's something that a lot of people overlook, because with some TVs, they sit too low to the stand, and if you're not mounting them on the wall, this can be a problem with a soundbar blocking everything in there. And if you don't have this type of base like the Q80 does have, you're gonna have to figure out a way to put that soundbar in the entertainment center below, or mount it on the wall, or mount your TV on the wall and have the soundbar on the stand, because you don't want to be blocking half of the screen. Well, it's not half, but it feels like it when you can't see it, so you just want to avoid that, and that's something that the Q80 does a great job. Oh, and as far as dimensions go, instead of just giving you the dimensions of one model, here's a quick list of all the dimensions for all the different sizes. Feel free to screenshot this so you can save it for later and you can thank me later. But yeah, that's going to pretty much wrap it up for features and design and lead us into our next part. Soundbar, soundbar, soundbar. Something that's probably been pounded into your head by anything that you've ever read online. And people always ask, hey, do I really need a soundbar with this TV? Are the speakers good enough? And the short answer is yes, you definitely need a soundbar. Now, for TV speakers, they're not actually that bad. On a scale of home entertainment audio, I'd give them a 2 out of 10. Not that bad? 2 out of 10? Justin, what are you talking about? Well, I'm really never gonna rate a TV speakers more than a 4. And honestly, a 2 is pretty good, because 3 and 4 are pretty much reserved for ultra premium high-end TVs that have things like transducers on the back that push the audio through the screen. And simply, that's just because all TV audio mostly sucks. You have to understand that TVs have gotten so thin nowadays, and they focus so much on the picture, that all the sound components have pretty much been squished and facing downwards, so that whatever you're listening to is going to be bouncing off your table, or if you have carpet, into your carpet, and you're not going to be getting a really good accurate sound. And it really sucks because, TVs were built with great sound a while ago, and they've really lost that touch with, the way they've been designed. But that's where the birth of the soundbar came. Soundbar is going to be a great way to amplify that sound without getting into a full stereo or surround system that, connects to the receiver and you have to run wires. It's a really great all-in-one solution. Now, a lot of people don't actually budget for a soundbar, which to me is crazy because a soundbar is at least 50% of the experience, if not more. And why do I say that? Well, I think that people would, on average, much rather listen to something that sounds good with terrible video quality than something that has terrible audio quality but looks really clean. And if you don't believe me, here's a little test. So this is an example of amazing video quality with terrible audio quality. Let's switch and see what sounds better. Now our video quality has decreased, but our audio quality has gone through the roof. Major improvements. What do you guys think? So yeah, very important to me. It might not be important to you at all, but audio is a lot more sensitive to our senses. So just keep that in mind. It's definitely a huge part of your whole entire entertainment experience. Now, there's a ton of soundbars to choose from, and this is not really a soundbar video. So as far as recommendations off the top of my head, I really like the way the HW-A650 and HW-B550 sounded when I tested them out, and I did do videos on both of those, so I'll leave those in the description. But pretty much you're gonna want to match brands if you can, unless you're buying independent audio brands like Klipsch, JBL, Denon, all the independent, can't forget about Polk. Polk makes some great products. I have a Polk in my office, so there's just a ton of different brands to go for as far as soundbars go, so you can't really go wrong with one of the independent guys. But if you're gonna buy, like, let's say a Samsung TV and you don't really care that much about independent brands and you want to just stick with Samsung, there are certain features like auto connectivity that are kind of built in, if that makes sense. You can still use and cross brands between the major TV competitors, but I just recommend kind of sticking to what you can. And if you really want to amplify it that much more, you go with one of the independents because there's just a ton of great soundbars out there. And with that being said, that leads us into our next and last part. So what are my personal thoughts with the Q80? Well, I really like the fact that you get an upgraded panel, you get the full back array and 120 Hertz. So not only is this going to boost your movie experience, but it's also going to really be important for boosting your gaming experience. I also like the design in the bezels and the raised stand so you can fit that soundbar. I think that's an awesome little touch and something that you only get from some of the premium TVs. And lastly, the processing speeds, which are definitely a big jump from the models below. So definitely important to me, which I have to type in passwords a lot, move around different apps. I don't use Roku's. I like the built-in stuff. So Q80 is perfect for me in that sense. Now, who's this TV for, really? I would say it's probably for the person who wants quality, but can't justify spending as much as the ultra premium models cost, and they still want something that's really good, but they also don't want to spend as much. OLEDs and mini LEDs are definitely a lot cheaper than they have ever been, and I can understand why someone would maybe not want to upgrade all the way there. So if you guys are interested in picking one of these up, all the links will be down in the description. We do really appreciate your support, and we hope that our videos can help you in the shopping journey. Let me know what you guys thought of the Q80B down in the comments section, and as always, if you guys enjoyed the video, make sure to leave a like and subscribe, and we'll see you in the next one. Thank you guys so much for making it to the end of the video. If this is a product that you're interested, make sure to email me at youtube@waltz so I can get you a special YouTube discount. If you haven't already, subscribe for more videos like these, and we'll see you in the next one.